Welcome to today's Pet Podcast. I was so in love with my little guest today. This is Jake. Jake is my buddy for today, and I'm going to tell you all about why Jake is here. Today, we have lots of great information for you. What I'm going to be talking about today is how you can help us save lives by becoming part of our foster family. So if you have never been a foster, you have questions about becoming a foster, or you just want to know what foster families do, hopefully I can answer those questions for you today, and Jake's going to help me do that. And then in the meantime, I really want to encourage you guys to come on down to the Houston SPCA, to our campus for all animals, and take a look at all of the animals that we have available for adoption. We've got dogs and cats and puppies and kittens and rabbits and lots of animals that would make wonderful pets for you and your family. So please come on down and visit us. But today we're going to talk all about fosters, and that's because it is springtime, summer's coming up, and if you didn't know this, spring and summer are what we call kitten season. I know this is a puppy, but spring and summer are what we call kitten season. There are a lot of kittens and even puppies being born during this time period. And so it's not uncommon for spring and summer to create lots of young puppies and kittens that need families. And so it's very common that in animal welfare in the spring and summer that we notice that our population of animals in animal welfare environments like shelters like ours, that usually those numbers tend to increase. We get many more puppies and kittens coming to us. And sometimes they're too young to be adopted. Sometimes they still need a little bit more nursing care and growing before they're able to be adopted. And so that's why we have these guys here to show you that this is an example of a puppy that needs a foster family. And so we're going to talk to you all about how you can help us help them. What questions do you guys have about foster families?
So what type of pets go into a foster program? I know you talked about the puppies, but are there other types of pets that we see in the foster program?
Yeah, so, pets may need foster families for a variety of reasons. So what is a foster family? A foster family is a family that provides housing and care for an animal that is not available for adoption yet. And that can be for several different reasons. If you are taking a look at our puppies here, they're just too young for adoption. So for our puppies, we like to wait until they're 4 pounds and 8 weeks old. Well, when we get orphaned puppies in like this that are closer to 6 weeks old, they're too young to be spayed or neutered, and they just need a little bit more socialization before we put them up for adoption. We want them to be really healthy, be current on their vaccines, be spayed and neutered before we put them up for adoption. And so they just need a little bit more time, 2 to 3 weeks before they're healthy enough to go to their new home. So that is a very common reason in the spring and summer that we need foster families, just to be temporary homes for young animals as they grow and get ready for adoption. But then we also have animals that have injuries or illnesses, and they need medical care. They need a little bit more medical care before they become available for adoption. For example, sometimes we have dogs or cats that have respiratory infections like kennel cough or upper respiratory infection in cats, and they're on medication, and they need to be on medication in a loving home until they're healthy and available to go up for adoption. And then sometimes we have more severe cases where puppies or kittens or dogs or cats may have serious injuries like broken limbs, for example, and they may need foster families until they're healthy. So there's a variety of reasons why an animal may need a temporary home before they find their permanent adoptive home.
And you touched base a little bit about, if they're sick. What are the most common medical conditions a foster pet may have?
Yeah, the most common medical, okay, you want to go play with your brother? Okay, you want to stay with me? Okay, here we go. I know. Here you go, baby. So we're going to let them play. So the most common medical conditions that we like to send animals into a home for while they recover is one, as I just mentioned, upper respiratory infections with cats. So a cold in a cat is very common. It's very common in animal welfare organizations and shelters where there's a lot of cats housed together. They wind up getting like a cold, kind of like a child would get in daycare. And so they sneeze and they have watery eyes. Well, we want them to be able to be in a stress-free environment and be able to get their medication and get healthy before adoption. So this is a very common illness that we see in cats, and we like to put them in foster homes for about 2 weeks until they are healthy enough to go up for adoption. And the same condition in dogs is called kennel cough. Occasionally we have dogs with kennel cough. That would do very well in a stress-free environment where they can be in a home and they can get their medication again for about 2 weeks before they're available to go up for adoption.
So, if they have, contagious diseases, am I able to foster pets if I have pets at home?
Great question, because the 2 diseases that I just mentioned can be spread to other dogs and cats. So it is important for you to know whether or not, your current pet is current on vaccinations, because if they're current on all of their vaccinations, they're less likely to contract one of these diseases from a foster pet. So make sure that your pets go and see a veterinarian and get current on vaccines before you bring a pet into your family that has a contagious disease. So that's important. But also we recommend that if you're fostering a pet that has a contagious disease, that you try to keep them separate. And so that means finding a space in your home where your foster pet can rest comfortably, can recover, and not have direct contact with your other pets, so that there's no spread of disease, because we want to make sure that your pets stay healthy as well.
And if for some reason I can separate pets, maybe I'm limited on space but still want to help, maybe should I foster cats if I have dogs or vice versa?
Yes, it's a great idea. So if you are fostering a cat that has a contagious disease, and we know that that disease is not transferable to dogs, then absolutely, maybe if you have dogs, you may consider fostering a cat, as long as you feel like your dog would not be too bothered by that. Or if you have cats, maybe you want to foster a dog. And so absolutely, it's an option to foster a different species of pet than you own that could help cut down on the potential spread of disease. So great question.
And you mentioned having our pets up to date on vaccinations. What about, do they have to be spayed or neutered before I bring one in?
It's ideal that your pets are not only current on vaccinations, but also spayed or neutered, because your foster pet may not be spayed or neutered. And we don't want any accidents where your pet and your foster pet are mating, and maybe there's an unwanted or unexpected pregnancy that results from that. And so we just want to make sure that everyone stays healthy, and there's no unexpected accidents that happen. So I recommend absolutely that your current pets be vaccinated and spayed or neutered. But if you can keep them separate, may not be as big of a problem.
And do you recommend specific type of foster pet for first timers?
Absolutely. So if you're a first time foster, I actually think it would be perfect for you to take a couple or, a few puppies or kittens that are healthy, because really they just need attention and time. That's really it. So just like these guys you see here, look at them. They're so adorable. They just need a little bit of time. And so they can be in your home. Maybe if you have kids, this would be a great learning experience for them to understand responsibility, to get a little bit of hands-on experience with puppies, especially if they wanted a pet. This would be a good temporary way for you to see your child's dedication and commitment to a pet. How involved are they going to be? Are they going to be responsible? And with healthy pets like we have here that just need a little time and growth period, these would be really good first time puppies and kittens for you to have in your home.
So can I choose come home, or what's that process like for selecting?
You can choose the type of foster pet that you have. We understand that not every person has the space at home or the time or the resources to be able to deal with a very sick or injured pet. And so you can determine what you are best able to give. So if you're at home and you're able to do a lot of nursing care, you may be a person or a family who's able to take in one of our more sick or injured animals because you're at home and you have that time to give. But maybe even if you don't, you can say, I need a pet that just needs attention and time, and maybe kittens would be something, because kittens are pretty independent and they go to the potty in the litter box, so you don't have to really worry about accidents in your home. You don't have to worry about walking them. So kittens are actually a really good first foster option as well, because kittens tend to be not only fun, really, really fun, but relatively low maintenance when it comes to fostering.
So that leads to a good question. What can I foster if I have a full-time job?
Absolutely. If you have a full-time job, you can still help us. And again, it's knowing your schedule and understanding your schedule and working with our foster team. We have a wonderful foster team who can help fit you with the perfect foster so they can find a foster that needs less time and less medication that will fit your schedule. So absolutely, there's ways to help.
And what is the time commitment? If I want to bring, these puppies home, how long do I have them for?
Yeah, so it depends really on the age of the puppies that you're taking. So sometimes we get orphaned or abandoned puppies or kittens that may be only 2 or 3 weeks old. And so they're not going to be available for adoption until they're 8 weeks old. So you could be looking at 6 or 7 weeks of fostering. But if you look at the puppies that we have here that are closer to 6 weeks, maybe that foster time is a little bit shorter, closer to 2 weeks, just until they're 4 pounds or 8 weeks, so that we can get them scheduled for spay, neuter, and then available for adoption. So absolutely, there's lots of variety there. You can determine and work with our foster team the amount of time that you have and the type of foster that you want, and we can match you up. Because all this does is help us to save lives. When animals wind up here in our shelter, we have a wonderful team here that works constantly to get them healthy and get them available for adoption. But we would not be able to do it without the community. We would not be able to do it without people like you all who take time and resources to help us get these animals really, really healthy.
And are we responsible for finding the adoption homes of these fosters?
Not at all. So once the foster pet is available for adoption, once they're healthy and spayed and neutered, you bring the pet back to us and we put them in our adoption center, and they are, they're available for the public to come and visit with, and hopefully they will find their family. So absolutely not. You have no responsibility to find a home for your foster pet. We will do that. However, if you have family or friends who are interested and who have fallen in love with your foster pet, then certainly we can help to facilitate the adoption by a family or friend that you have.
All right, so $1 million question. What happens if we fall in love with our foster?
That is not uncommon at all. That's how I got my first cat. My first cat was a cat that I was supposed to be fostering for just a few weeks, and so I got my cat that way. But what we need a really solid, robust foster family support group. And the way that we have that working is that we want you to foster pets as often as you are able, and sometimes the more personal pets that you have at home, it may limit what you're able to do. And so what we would ask is that for first-time fosters, that you commit to fostering three foster pets before you adopt one. So we just ask for that commitment that you are able to help us by fostering 3 pets before you adopt your foster pet. And what that does is it really does help us to save more lives. We can depend on you to help us take in animals into your home, and that allows us to be able to do more for the pets in our care. So we love that if you have fallen in love, you may be able to find a friend or family member that can adopt your foster, and then they can be in your life a little bit more. We just ask that you wait till your 4th pet to consider adopting.
And also because obviously if we adopt that pet, our house becomes a little bit more crowded, and then we're going to be less likely to foster and bring more.
Yes, exactly.
So then what is the process to become a foster?
So if you're interested in becoming a foster, again, we thank you so much for even considering doing it, because we need that sort of support to be able to do the work that we do. So please go to houstonspca.org, and there's a tab at the top that says ways to give, and you can click on foster, and that will give you the information that you need. You will register. You will go through an orientation so that you'll get all of the information about how to join our foster family. And then once you're part of our foster family, there's ways that you can get information about the animals available for foster. And those animals are found on our website through the foster family link. And our foster team also sends out emails and newsletters to our foster families so that you guys can get a good idea about the animals that need foster families. So we have lots of opportunity to interact with you, to show you the animals that need you, and lots of ways that you can show up in their lives to help.
And then what supplies, if any, does the Houston SPCA provide, or what support?
Right. So please don't think that we expect you to take on all of this work yourself. The Houston SPCA is committed to helping you be successful in fostering. And the way that we do that is we provide all of the food that you're going to need for your foster pet. So we will provide food, like you see here, canned food or dry food for your foster pet, no matter their age or stage of life. We will also provide all medications. So if you take a pet home that needs medications, we provide that at no cost to you through the entire time that you are fostering your pet. We will also provide preventive care like vaccinations, heartworm prevention, and flea and tick prevention, as well as deworming. Because we want to make sure that any pet that you take into your home is healthy. We know that you all might have pets of your own, and we don't want your foster pet, again, to transmit any diseases to your current pet. So we keep your foster pet healthy for you. We'll make sure that they have everything that they need to make sure that that happens. So we'll provide everything for you. All that we ask is that you bring the foster pet to us for that care every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, we want to see your foster pet. We want to be able to have our veterinary team examine your foster pet, monitor their growth and their progress. We want to make sure that we can refill your medication and keep them updated on all that preventive care. And so a visit to our shelter about once every 2 weeks is all that we ask. Sometimes it can be, longer than that if the veterinarian determines that that's okay.
And then if I have any questions or concerns, is there support from other fosters?
Yes, we definitely have a foster support group, especially on social media. We have a Facebook page for all of our Houston SPCA foster families. And not only are there wonderful, helpful tips on that page, but there's lots of just cute pictures of everybody's fosters and what they're doing and how they're creating space in their home to welcome fosters. It really is touching and supportive, and to be able to see what another foster family is doing to be able to take in animals into their home is very inspiring. And so you can get lots of great tips there.
And then if we bring home a medical case and there's an emergency at home, what's the protocol for that?
Yeah, so if there's an emergency, you've taken a foster home and maybe there's some emergency that happens at home and you need immediate care, it's after hours. We do have a 24-hour ambulance team, and that 24-hour ambulance team can also respond to your emergency. So you would call our main line, our 713-869-7722, and our answering service will connect you with an ambulance driver. And the ambulance driver can help to pick up your foster and take your foster to an overnight emergency clinic, or give you instruction about what to do in the meantime until you can bring your foster in the next morning. So our ambulance drivers can talk to you, they can talk you through what's going on, and they can help to determine whether or not they need to come pick up your foster and take them to an emergency hospital, or whether or not you can bring your foster in the next day. So we definitely have support for you even overnight.
And as we prepared, to become fosters, what are the most common challenges that we may face?
If you're preparing to become a foster and you're wondering what kind of challenges might you face, one of the things is, you're going to bring a new pet into your home. You want to make sure that your home is pet proof if you don't already have a home. So just making sure that that you have pet proofed your home and taken dangerous things out of the space that your foster pet is going to be in. Make sure that your foster pet has all the supplies that we give you. And so just making sure that the space that you have is appropriate for them. We also know that it's a challenge when you're taking in a sick or injured animal. Sometimes things happen unexpectedly, especially with very sick animals. Sometimes the animals do well and they recover, and sometimes they unfortunately succumb to their disease or their illness. And so sometimes there is emotional burden that may come along with a foster pet. And even if everything goes well and your foster pet goes up for adoption, sometimes that emotional, just the emotional tie that you had to them can be a challenge to see them go on to another home. You become very attached and very vested, but we encourage you that they would not be able to go on and find their home without you. So please know that and be peaceful knowing that you did all that you could and that you provided these animals a wonderful home and a space to get better in.
And if I find puppies or my cat has a litter, what are my options?
Yeah, so if you have, puppies or kittens, and maybe your pet gives birth and you're not really sure what to do, what I'd say is one of the things that's really important when there's a new litter of puppies and kittens is that, if possible, it's best for newborn puppies and kittens to stay with their mother, because they're getting all of the nutrients through that mother's milk, but they're also learning socialization. They're also learning how to be a puppy or how to be a kitten. And so we really advocate for keeping mom and puppies together, or mom and kittens together, because there's nothing better than being with their mom to get all those socialization and health benefits that they would get. Now, if it's a situation where the mother is not available to do the mothering, and these are abandoned kittens or puppies, then there's a couple things that you can do. The youth SPCA will support you in hand raising puppies and kittens even in your own home. We will provide milk. We will provide nipples and syringes and bottles and food and everything that you need, and even video training, everything that you need to be able to do this at home if you'd like to. So you can reach out to us and say that you are willing to do this at home, as long as you have our support and we're willing to support you. But in emergency cases and you're unable to do it at home, then certainly we are able to take those animals in. We do have a nursery right now. We have a 24-hour kitten nursery, but that also has some puppies in it. We have a 24-hour kitten nursery where we hand raise abandoned and orphaned kittens 24 hours a day through the summer. And so we're here to help as well, but we need community members to help us do it. We certainly can't do it alone, and we appreciate any time and resources that you can do to help us.
And if we can't bring pets home, how can we still help that foster program?
Absolutely. There's ways to help. So we are always in need of supplies, right? Just supplies. So, things that we need a lot of: puppy pads, because puppy pads, we have lots of puppies, lots of kittens. It's a way that we can keep their space clean and comfortable, and it's easy for our staff members to clean. So puppy pads are one way that you can help. Maybe purchasing milk or baby wipes. We use all of these things for our neonatal animals, and so going on our Amazon list, if you go to our Amazon wish list, you can find a list of supplies that you can send us if that's the way that you'd like to give to help out. But maybe if it's not financial, maybe it's not purchasing something, if you have a little bit of time that you can give here on campus, we are looking for volunteers to help our nursery staff take care of puppies and kittens. And don't worry, we're not going to ask you to do anything that you're not comfortable with. It could just be helping to do laundry. It could be washing bottles and nipples. It could be helping to clean out kennels and incubators that have our little neonates in them. It can even be socializing. So there's so much that you can do just to be support. So if you can't help by bringing a foster into your home, and maybe you can't help financially, if you have any time to give, we welcome you to campus to become a part of our volunteer family, and come on campus, and for even a couple of hours a week, you can help us take care of these guys.
All right, so we know Mother's Day is just around the corner. Is Houston SPCA doing anything special for moms?
Yes, it's Mother's Day. Happy early Mother's Day to all of you out there. Mothers are truly amazing, and they are definitely just super women. That's their superpower, is really mothering those children. And in the same way, we salute all of our mothers that are dogs and cats and that are nursing, 6 or 7 little puppies and kittens, because they are working very hard as well. So what can you do that's a really cool thing to help us out this Mother's Day? Well, if you know that your mother loves puppies and kittens, you can sponsor a kitten. You can sponsor a kitten in our nursery for your mother. And what we are asking that you do is that you go on our website, HoustonSPCA.org. There's a little banner there about our Mother's Day special, and you can sponsor a kitten for your mother for $30. So for $30, what we can do is we will send your mother a card with a paw print of her sponsored kitten as a gift for Mother's Day. And so it's really a way that you can show love to your mother, commit to a kitten, and help them to find their home, and do something that that would mean a lot to your mother, but it would also mean a lot to the kittens that we have in our nursery and to the Houston SPCA and our mission. So everybody wins there. Please go to our website and take a look at that Mother's Day special. In addition, we have 50% off adoption fees this Mother's Day weekend. So if you're thinking of adopting a pet this weekend, we have 50% adoption fees for any of our dogs over 6 months. So this is a perfect time, a wonderful, wonderful time. Bring your mom down, have them meet one of our pets, and perhaps we can help them find a new family this weekend. So thank you guys for joining us again. We encourage you to go on our website and look at ways to give. There's so many ways that you can become part of our extended family. We could not do it without you, and fostering is one of our greatest needs. So if you can help us in the way of fostering, please go ahead and do so.
And as a reminder, these puppies are still in need of fostering.
These puppies need fostering. Look how sweet they are. They're just quiet. They're sleeping like babies over there. Don't you just want to take them home? So come on down and visit us. Thank you again for joining us. We will see you next week on the Pet Podcast. Bye-bye.